There is firewood for 2 weeks. I am going to the Maldives with my boyfriend and taking your savings, my wife said, tossing the logs onto the floor of the remote cabin where I was recovering from surgery. She grabbed my phone, waved my own house keys, and shouted, "I changed your locks." They drove off laughing, and as their SUV disappeared between the snow-covered trees, I smiled. She had no idea my private investigator was already waiting for her at the airport, with everything I needed to burn her perfect life down to the foundation. Before we go deeper into this mess of lies and double lives, please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and click that hype button to keep these stories coming. My name is Garrett Grayson. I am 39 years old, and for the past 7 months, I have been watching my marriage collapse in slow motion. I am an industrial safety inspector, which means I spend my days looking for problems other people miss: cracks in concrete, faulty welds, equipment that looks fine until you check the stress points. My job taught me patience. It taught me to document everything. It taught me that the most dangerous failures are the ones people ignore because they seem too small to matter. Veronica thought I was too small to matter. She was wrong. The cabin belonged to my uncle, who passed 3 years ago, and left it to me in his will. It sits 40 miles outside Duluth, Minnesota, surrounded by pine trees and silence. No neighbors, no cell service, just a dirt road that turns into ice from November through March. And when the doctors told me I needed spinal surgery, minor but invasive, Veronica suggested I recover here. She said the quiet would help. She said she would check on me every few days. She said a lot of things. What she did not say was that she had been seeing Clay Harmon for 7 months. Clay is 41, a director of logistics at a multinational supply company. He wears expensive suits and talks about market disruptions like they are personal achievements. He drives a leased Range Rover and vacations in places he pronounces with exaggerated accuracy. Veronica met him at a conference in Chicago. She came home with a new perfume and a sudden interest in international travel. I noticed. I notice everything. The surgery was scheduled for late January. Recovery time, 3 weeks minimum. Veronica drove me to the cabin, helped me inside, and left the same day. She said she had work. She said she would be back in 2 days. She did not come back in 2 days. She did not come back in 4 days. On the 5th day, she showed up with Clay. That was when she told me about the Maldives. She stood in the doorway wearing a new winter coat I had never seen before. Clay waited in the SUV, engine running, exhaust clouding the frozen air. She did not even pretend to check how I was feeling. She walked straight to the wood stove, dumped the logs on the floor like she was feeding livestock, and turned to face me. "I am leaving you," she said. "Not just for the trip, for good." I met someone who actually has ambition, someone who is not content inspecting other people's work for the rest of his life. I was sitting on the old sofa, wearing the posture brace the hospital gave me. My medication was on the side table. My back felt like someone had replaced my spine with broken glass. I looked at her and said nothing. She continued. "Clay and I are going to the Maldives. 2 weeks. I used the joint account, all of it. $8,000. You can consider it compensation for wasting my time for the past 10 years. I still said nothing. She pulled my phone from her purse and held it up. "I am taking this." "You do not need it. There is no service here anyway. And I changed the locks at home, so do not bother trying to leave. The firewood should last 2 weeks if you are smart about it. After that, I do not really care." Clay honked the horn. Veronica smiled, dropped my phone on the floor, and walked out. The door slammed. The SUV pulled away, tires crunching on snow. I watched through the window until the red taillights disappeared. Then I smiled. The cabin has one main room with a wood stove, a kitchen area that barely functions, and a bedroom that smells like mothballs and old wood. The furniture is older than I am. The windows are small and frost over at night. The walls are thin enough that you can hear the wind scratching at the siding like something trying to get in. My uncle was a practical man. He did not trust banks, did not trust people, and did not trust the idea that help would come when you needed it. So he built a hidden storage panel beneath the floorboards near the stove. Inside, a satellite radio, a backup phone with a prepaid SIM card, emergency supplies, $300 in cash, and a key to the old quad bike he kept in the shed out back. Veronica did not know about the panel. She thought she was abandoning me with nothing. She was wrong about that, too. After they left, I sat on the floor for 10 minutes, listening to the sound of the stove ticking as it cooled. My back hurt. My legs felt weak. The medication made everything feel distant, like I was watching myself through fogged glass. But my mind was clear, clearer than it had been in months. I had been planning this moment since October, since the night I found the receipt for a hotel room in St. Paul that Veronica said she never visited. I pulled up the panel and retrieved the satellite radio. It took 3 tries to get a signal. The wind howled outside. Snow began falling harder, thick flakes that stuck to the windows. When the radio finally connected, I called Seth McCollum. Seth is 50 years old, a former fraud prevention specialist who now works as a private investigator. He is blunt, disciplined, and expensive. I hired him 4 months ago when Veronica started coming home late with vague explanations and a new habit of checking her phone every 5 minutes. Seth does not waste time on sympathy or questions that do not matter. He delivers facts. That is all I wanted. Facts. "Garrett," he said when he answered. "You okay?" "She just left," I said. "With him. Exactly like you said she would." "I am at the airport," Seth said. "Minneapolis, St. Paul. Flight boards in 90 minutes. I have everything. Photos, receipts, audio, bank records. Everything you asked for." "Good," I said. "Stay on her. I will be there. You sure you can travel? You just had surgery 5 days ago." "I will manage," I said. Seth paused. The line crackled with static. "This is going to hurt her bad, Garrett. You ready for that?" I smiled into the static, alone in the cabin with nothing but firewood and the cold pressing in from every direction. "She left me in the snow, Seth. I am ready." The quad bike was older than my marriage. It sat in the shed under a canvas tarp, covered in dust and spider webs and the smell of old gasoline. The shed was not locked. My uncle never locked anything. He said locks only kept out honest people, and honest people were not the problem. The key fit. The engine turned over on the second try, coughing blue smoke into the frozen air. I strapped a flashlight to the handlebars with duct tape and started down the trail. The pain was immediate. Every bump sent a jolt through my spine. The cold air bit through my jacket and into my chest. The trail was narrow, barely visible under the snow. Branches whipped at my face. Twice I nearly lost control on patches of ice hidden beneath fresh powder. My hands shook, my vision blurred. The flashlight beam bounced wildly, illuminating nothing useful, but I kept moving. It took 40 minutes to reach the main road. My legs were numb. My back felt like it was on fire. I almost fell getting off the bike. Seth was waiting in his truck, headlights cutting through the darkness like searchlights. He got out and helped me into the passenger seat without a word. We drove south toward the city. The heater blasted. My hands thawed slowly, painfully. "You look terrible," Seth said. "I feel worse," I admitted. "Want to hear what I have?" "Tell me." Seth handed me a folder. Inside, printed photos, bank statements, hotel receipts, text message screenshots. Veronica and Clay at a restaurant in Minneapolis, leaning close over wine glasses. Veronica and Clay leaving a hotel in St. Paul at 10 in the morning, both wearing sunglasses. Veronica laughing, her hand on his chest. Clay kissing her neck in a parking garage, his hand on her waist. There was more. Audio files on a USB drive. Veronica talking to a friend named Rachel, describing how boring I was, how weak I looked after surgery, how she could not wait to start fresh with someone who actually wanted more out of life than a steady paycheck and cable television. Clay boasting to a colleague about his new relationship, casually noting that his girlfriend was still married but not for much longer, that she was finally breaking free from the burden. Seth had been thorough. He always was. "That is why I paid him." "She used your savings," Seth said. "Withdrew $8,000 from the joint account last Tuesday. Bought the tickets to the Maldives, booked the resort. Clay covered his own flight, but she paid for everything else. The hotel, the excursions, the spa packages, all of it." "Can we freeze the account?" I asked. "Already done," Seth said. "I filed a medical vulnerability claim this morning. Joint accounts automatically freeze if one spouse abandons the other during recovery from surgery. It is a Minnesota law, not well known, but enforceable. The bank approved it 2 hours ago." "When will she find out?" "Probably when she tries to check in at the airport," Seth said. "The resort requires payment confirmation 24 hours before arrival. Her card will decline. She will call the bank. They will tell her the account is frozen pending legal review." I leaned back against the seat, feeling the pain radiate through my body like electricity. "Good. There is more," Seth said. "Clay is in trouble at work. His company is doing a routine audit of executive travel expenses. Standard procedure, happens every year. But if they find out he used company funds for personal trips, hotels that were not business-related, he is looking at termination, maybe legal action." "Can you make sure they find out?" I asked. "Already in motion," Seth said. Anonymous tip to their compliance department. They will cross-reference his expense reports with hotel records. It will not take long. I looked out the window at the dark highway rushing past. Veronica thought she was escaping into a better life. Clay thought he was trading up. They both thought I was too weak, too boring, too irrelevant to fight back. They were about to learn otherwise. We did not go to my house. Veronica had changed the locks, and I was not interested in breaking in. Instead, Seth drove me to my sister June's apartment in South Minneapolis. June is a paramedic, 35 years old, practical, and unshakable. She has seen every kind of human disaster, from car wrecks to heart attacks to domestic situations that end with someone in handcuffs. Nothing surprises her anymore. When I called her from the satellite radio and told her what happened, she did not gasp or cry or ask if I was sure. She just said, "Bring him here," and hung up. June lived on the 3rd floor of an old brick building near the Midtown Greenway. The apartment was small, clean, organized. She made up the couch and brought me water and 2 painkillers. "You need rest," she said. "Real rest, not revenge planning." "I will rest after," I said. "Garrett." "June," I said, looking at her. She left me in a cabin with no phone and no way out. She took my savings. She mocked me to her friends. She did not even pretend to care if I was okay. I am not asking for your approval. I am asking for a place to sleep." June stared at me for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Okay, but if you pass out, I am taking you to the hospital. Deal." I slept for 4 hours. When I woke, it was dawn. My phone, the backup one from the cabin, had 3 messages from Seth. The first: "Veronica tried to call you 6 times last night. Blocked number." The second: "Clay called his office, sounded nervous, asked about expense audits. They told him it was routine." The third: "She knows about the freeze. Just got a call from the resort. Payment declined. She is furious." I smiled and went back to sleep. Veronica did not know where I was. She thought I was still at the cabin, helpless and humiliated, sitting in the cold with nothing but firewood and my own misery. That was fine. Let her think that. The longer she believed I was out of the picture, the harder the landing would be when she realized the truth. Seth called at noon. "We need to talk about Clay," he said. "What about him?" "His company is doing a routine audit of executive travel expenses," Seth said. "Nothing major, just standard compliance. But if they find out he used company funds for personal trips, dinners with Veronica, hotel rooms that had nothing to do with logistics meetings, he is in serious trouble. And I can make sure they find out." "Do it," I said. "But keep the focus on Veronica. Clay is just a bonus, a side effect. She is the one who deserves this." "Understood," Seth said. "One more thing. She tried to buy new tickets this morning. Different resort, same dates. Cheaper place in Cancun. Card declined again. She called the bank. They told her about the freeze. She started screaming at the customer service rep, threatened legal action. They told her the freeze was court-approved based on medical abandonment." "How did she react?" I asked. "She hung up and tried to call you 9 more times," Seth said. "No voicemails, just hang-ups." "Good," I said. "Let her scream." June made me eat breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee. I was not hungry, but I forced it down. She sat across from me, arms folded, watching me like I was a patient she was not sure would make it. "You are enjoying this," she said. "I am," I admitted. "That scares me a little." "It should," I said. "But she earned it, June. Every bit of it." June sighed. "Just don't do anything reckless. No confrontations, no aggression. You're still healing. Your spine is held together with screws and sheer willpower right now." "I am not going to fight him," I said. "I am going to humiliate him. There is a difference." June did not look convinced, but she did not argue. She knew me well enough to know that once I decided on something, I followed through. That was how I was built. That was how I survived. That afternoon, I received a call from an unknown number. I did not answer. It rang 4 more times over the next hour. Finally, a voicemail appeared. It was Veronica. "Garrett," her voice said, tight and furious, like she was speaking through clenched teeth. "I do not know what you think you are doing, but you need to stop. Unfreeze the account. This is ridiculous. You are being vindictive and childish. We can handle this like adults. Call me back." I deleted the message. An hour later, Clay called. His voice was smooth, controlled, condescending, the voice of someone who thought he was smarter than everyone else in the room. "Garrett, this is Clay Harmon. I think we should talk. Veronica is upset, and I would like to resolve this situation amicably. Whatever issues you two are having, dragging me into it is not productive. Let us be adults here. Let us handle this the right way." I saved the voicemail. I did not call back. Seth arranged a meeting for the next day. A coffee shop in downtown Minneapolis, public and busy. Lots of witnesses, lots of cameras. I arrived early, wearing the posture brace the doctors gave me. It made me look weaker than I was. That was intentional. I wanted Clay to see me as pathetic, harmless, beaten. I wanted him to underestimate me one more time. Clay arrived 10 minutes late, dressed in a tailored wool coat and leather gloves. He sat across from me without asking, his expression a mix of annoyance and pity. "You look rough," he said. Surgery," I said flatly. "Right," Clay said, settling into his chair like he owned it. "Look, I am going to be direct. Veronica and I are together. That is not changing. You two have been over for a while, and we both know it. The marriage was over long before I came into the picture. So whatever this is, freezing accounts, playing games, making threats, it has to end. You need to face the facts and move on." I stared at him. This is not a game. Clay leaned forward, lowering his voice like he was talking to a child. "I understand you are upset. Breakups are hard, but making her life difficult is not going to make you feel better. It just makes you look bitter. You need to move on. Find someone new, start fresh. Stop clinging to something that is already gone." I nodded slowly. "You are right." Clay blinked. "I am?" "Absolutely," I said. "I should move on, starting with a conversation with your employer." Clay's expression hardened. "Excuse me?" "Your company audits executive travel expenses," I said. "Standard compliance. I wonder what they would find if they looked closely at your trips over the past 7 months. Hotel rooms in St. Paul, dinners in Minneapolis, flights that were not exactly business-related. I bet some of those expenses were charged to the company card." Clay stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "You are threatening me?" "I am informing you," I said calmly. "You chose to involve yourself in my marriage. You chose to help her steal my savings. You chose to mock me behind my back. Now you are involved in everything that comes with it." Clay's jaw tightened. His hands clenched into fists. "You are pathetic." "Maybe," I said, "but I am not the one about to explain expense fraud to human resources." Clay leaned over the table, his face inches from mine. "You do not know who you are messing with." "Yes, I do," I said. "I am messing with a man who thinks he is untouchable, a man who is about to find out he is not." Clay stared at me for a long moment. Then he turned and stormed out, nearly knocking over a woman carrying coffee. The barista looked at me. I shrugged and finished my drink. That evening, Seth sent me an update. Clay called the office 3 times today. Panicking. They moved the audit up to next week. He is scrambling, trying to explain receipts. He is in trouble. "And Veronica?" I asked. "She tried to book a domestic trip instead. Florida, cheap resort in Clearwater. Card declined again. She is losing it, Garrett. She called the bank 4 more times, threatened to sue them. They told her the freeze is court-ordered and non-negotiable until the medical review is complete." "When is the review?" I asked. 3 weeks, Seth said. "But she does not know that." "Perfect," I said. "Garrett," Seth said carefully, "she is going to confront you. Probably soon. You ready for that?" "I have been ready for months," I said. The confrontation came the next afternoon. Veronica showed up at June's apartment. I do not know how she found me. Maybe she tracked June down through social media. Maybe she called my work and someone told her. Maybe she guessed. It did not matter. She was there, pounding on the door like she was trying to break it down. June answered. Veronica pushed past her without a word, scanning the apartment until she saw me sitting on the couch. "Where is he?" Veronica demanded. "There you are." I stood slowly, feeling the pain in my back flare. "Right here." Veronica looked at me, her face flushed with anger, her eyes red like she had been crying or screaming or both. "You froze the account. You sabotaged the trip. You are harassing Clay. You are threatening his job. What is wrong with you?" I met her eyes. "You left me in a cabin with no phone and no way out." "You were fine," Veronica snapped. "You are fine now. Look at you, standing, walking. You are not in danger. You are just playing the victim." "I had just had surgery," I said quietly. "You abandoned me." "Don't be so over the top," Veronica said, waving her hand dismissively. "You're always like this. I needed space. I needed a break. You've been unhappy for years, Garrett. Empty. No drive, no enthusiasm. This marriage ended a long time ago. I just found the courage to acknowledge it." "Then you should have said so," I said. "You should have filed for separation. You should have been honest. Instead, you cheated. You lied. You stole my savings. You mocked me to your friends. And you left me in the snow." Veronica's expression flickered, just for a moment, something that might have been guilt or shame or recognition. Then the anger returned, hotter than before. "You do not get to punish me for moving on. I am not punishing you for moving on," I said. "I am punishing you for how you did it." Veronica stepped closer, her voice rising. "Unfreeze the account, Garrett. Now. I need that money. No. I will take you to court, she said. Go ahead, I said. I have documentation, abandonment, financial misuse, infidelity, everything. Seth has been following you for 4 months. I have photos, receipts, audio recordings, text messages. You will lose. Veronica stared at me, her hands shaking. You hired someone to follow me? I did, I said. The day I found the hotel receipt you swore did not exist. Veronica's face went pale. You have been planning this. Since October, I said. Every lie you told, every late night, every excuse. I documented it. I waited. I let you think you were winning. And now you are going to lose everything. Veronica's voice broke. You are a monster. No, I said. I am just someone who got tired of being treated like I did not matter. Veronica turned to June, her expression desperate. Are you going to let him do this? He is your brother. Talk to him. June crossed her arms. He is my brother, and you left him in the middle of nowhere after spinal surgery. You took his money. You cheated on him. So no, Veronica, I am not going to talk to him. I am going to watch him finish this. Veronica stared at June, then at me. Her face crumpled. You are going to regret this, Garrett. I already do, I said. I regret marrying you. Veronica turned and left, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. June locked it behind her and looked at me. That was intense, she said. That was necessary, I said. The next day, Seth called with an update. She booked a flight to Miami. Cheaper? Leaving tomorrow morning. Early flight. Clay is going with her. His company put him on administrative leave pending the audit. They found discrepancies. He is panicking. Good, I said. Are you ready for the airport? I have been ready, Seth said. You sure about this, Garrett? Once we do this, there is no going back. She's going to be humiliated. Publicly. In front of hundreds of people. I am sure, I said. She burned everything. Now I am returning the favor. Seth was quiet for a moment. Okay, I will be there. Terminal C, 6 a.m. I will be there too, I said. Garrett, Seth said. You do not have to do this in person. I can handle it. I need to be there, I said. I need to see her face. That night I barely slept. My back hurt. My mind raced. I kept replaying the past 7 months in my head. Every lie, every betrayal. Every moment I sat quietly and let her think I was oblivious. I thought about the cabin, the cold, the firewood on the floor, her smile as she walked out, Clay honking the horn like I was an inconvenience they were leaving behind. I thought about what I was about to do, and I did not feel guilty. The airport was crowded. It was a Saturday morning in late January. Families traveling, business people rushing through security, college students hauling backpacks and oversized luggage. The terminal smelled like coffee and cleaning solution. Announcements echoed overhead. I arrived early, wearing jeans and a heavy jacket, walking slowly but steadily. My back still hurt, but I was managing. The medication helped. So did the anger. Seth was already there, standing near the check-in counters, holding a leather folder. He nodded when he saw me. She is here, Seth said quietly. Terminal C. Gate 14. Clay is with her. Let us go, I said. We walked through the terminal. The crowd parted around us. I saw them near the gate, standing by the tall windows that looked out over the runways. Veronica wore a sundress under her winter coat, oversized sunglasses perched on her head like a crown. Clay stood beside her, tapping his phone, looking tense. They had 2 rolling suitcases and a carry-on bag covered in travel stickers. They looked like people on vacation, like people without a care in the world. That was about to change. Seth stepped forward first. He walked directly to Veronica, his footsteps deliberate and unhurried. She did not notice him until he was standing right in front of her. Veronica Grayson? Seth said. Veronica turned, confused. Yes? Seth handed her the folder. You have been served. Veronica opened it slowly. Inside, legal documentation, abandonment claims, financial misuse records, photographs of her and Clay at restaurants, hotels, parking garages, text messages, audio transcripts, bank statements showing the $8,000 withdrawal. Everything. Her face went pale. Her hands trembled. The folder slipped from her fingers and hit the floor, paper scattering across the terminal tile. What is this? She whispered. That was when I stepped forward. Veronica looked up, and her expression crumbled like a building losing its foundation. Garrett. Hello, Veronica, I said. Clay turned, his eyes widening. What are you doing here? Finishing this, I said. Veronica bent down and grabbed the papers, trying to gather them up, but her hands were shaking so badly she kept dropping them. Other travelers were starting to notice. A woman with a stroller slowed down to watch. A businessman paused mid-phone call. "You cannot do this," Veronica said, her voice rising. "You cannot." "I already did," I said. "The account stays frozen. The documentation goes to your employer, your friends, your family, anyone who needs to know what kind of person you really are." Veronica's voice cracked. "I made a mistake. I was unhappy. You were distant. You did not care about me. You never cared." "I cared," I said quietly, stepping closer. "I cared enough to notice when you started lying. I cared enough to document every betrayal. I cared enough to hire someone to follow you for 4 months. I cared enough to let you think I was weak, so you would feel safe enough to show me who you really are." Veronica started crying, mascara running down her cheeks. Clay stepped between us, his face red, his jaw tight. "This is harassment," Clay said. "I will call security." "Go ahead," I said. "But before you do, you should know that your company already has copies of those expense reports, the ones showing personal travel charged to corporate accounts, hotels in St. Paul that had nothing to do with logistics meetings, dinners in Minneapolis where you discussed your personal life instead of supply chain management. You are finished, Clay." Clay's face flushed red. "You are insane." "No," I said. "I am methodical." Clay shoved me. Not hard. Just a push. A hand on my chest. But it was enough. Enough for the nearby security guard to notice. Enough for the crowd to turn and stare. Enough for Clay to realize he had just made a catastrophic mistake. "Sir," the guard said, stepping forward. "Step back." Clay froze. His face went from red to white in an instant. He looked at Veronica, then at me, then at the guard. He stepped back, hands raised. Seth handed Veronica another document. "Flight cancellation notice," he said. "The resort contacted the airline this morning. No payment confirmation received. Your tickets are void." Veronica stared at the paper. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. She looked at Clay, then at the gate, then at the crowd of people watching her fall apart in real time. I leaned in close, my voice low enough that only she could hear. "You left me in the snow with firewood and no phone, so I left you here, with nothing you wanted." Veronica collapsed into a chair near the gate, sobbing. Her shoulders shook. Her hands covered her face. Clay stood beside her, helpless, his phone buzzing in his pocket. People were filming now, phones out, cameras recording. Someone was going to post this online. Veronica would be a story people told, a cautionary tale, a meme. She had wanted a better life. She got a public breakdown instead. I turned and walked away. Seth followed. Behind me, I heard Veronica shouting my name. I did not turn around.